Lovely and a miraculous evening, good morning, and a good noon from KUDOS International Latte Show to all the viewers across the globe. Here I am your host, Dr. Supriya Kumar Velan, and I am once again with my coffee on this beautiful platform of Latte Show. And here today, we are going to surprise you with our amazing guest from United States. And when I say the word United States, I remember one great personality. And if you want to check it out, who is she? Then you have to check out my video. Here is my lovely guest, Martie M. Smith. Welcome to our show. It's been a great honor and privilege for me to host you today.
Hi, Dr. Supriya. It's an honor, and talk about miracles. You are a miracle and just appeared out of the heavens, because I've been trying to get my message off the ground for I published a book in 2022 in December. And then I started getting awards, and the next thing I know, the momentum started building. But I want to stay focused on my mission, my passion, and my purpose, which is to deliver a message of hope and resilience. That is my sole purpose left of all the many adventures I've lived in my life.
Wow, this is fabulous, Marty, and we are going to take a deep dive. And I am sure, as I said earlier while introducing you, this show is going to be super awesome, super amazing, not because you are amazing, because your life journey is going to transform today. Millions and zillions and all our global audience. And Marty, by the way, I would love to say one thing. Whenever I open social media, I will find your great work, your passionate work. You're an international speaker, author, and whatnot. So I was super excited that day itself. I want to host this personality. And today, that great evening has arrived. So, along with my global audience, not to waste a single moment of my life, not any pause, let's start with this vivacious personality, Marty Smith. Marty, come on, just enlighten the world with your gracious, inspiring, and most achieving, that I would say the word is not coming in my mouth, your life journey. And who is actual Marty Smith?
Marty Smith was born in Colombia, South America. I was meant to be international. I've moved 49 times in my lifetime. I've had numerous adventures. I've been in the Air Force, a veteran out of the Air Force. I've been a environmental control systems mechanic working on the airplanes in the Air Force. So that was something way out of my comfort zone. And I didn't even know comfort zones existed. So I was always wanting to try, wanting to learn. That was like my favorite pastime, to just get education, learn, discover new things. And I didn't know why. It wasn't until I wrote my book that I looked back in retrospect in a different angle of everything that I had lived. Now, let me tell you, when I was 7 years old, I was told I was a mistake. They didn't want girls in my family. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Back then, it was very traumatizing, I didn't know what to do. I was left like helpless. And at the same time, something inside of me stirred this little seed or cultivated this. I say it started as stubbornness that I was going to prove to somebody. So I didn't know who, not the world, maybe just me, that I was valuable in one way, shape, or form. Even though they had called me a mistake, I was going to find out what it was that I was good at. But I didn't know that I was doing all that. It was just kind of natural instinct to react that way. I joined the Air Force only because I wanted independence from my household. I've moved 49 times in my lifetime, lived in Venezuela, Colombia, all up and down the East Coast. Never had long-term relationships or friendships with anyone. So I felt like I was a free bird. And this was my opportunity to sign my Declaration of Independence by joining the Air Force. I was old enough to do it without my parents' permission, but I was daring way out of my comfort zone as well, because I didn't consult with my parents, even though I was just kind of like a second class citizen. I do very obedient. I learned how to cook when I was little, like 5 years old, cook, clean, and everything. And then I come to find out and realize that I was the maid when we were away from South America, when we were away from Venezuela. And so I was like, oh no. And I would come to the United States, they would say, I want you to ring a little bell to get you your glass of water. And I was like, but in New York, I get to pour my own glass of water. And then we get to New York, where's my little bell? So I was always torn, always had to go by the seat of my pants and fly that way. But I joined the Air Force. That was like the biggest major step in my life. My parents weren't happy and they moved. They moved from where I was supposed to take off to keep me from being in the Air Force. And I said, oh no, I became instant attorney. I said, oh no, I won't be AWOL. It's a federal offense. I signed the contract. I'm keeping it. I'm sorry, too bad, so sad. I'm going. But they moved and they moved me with them. And I'm like, okay, there's a way, somewhere, shape or form. Luckily, my godmother in New York said, I'll give you your airplane ticket. You're going to get a job there. You can pay me back whenever. Which, by the way, I never paid her back, but it was the most valuable gift I've ever received before I turned 21. And in the Air Force, I was doing great. The base commander was commendating me for all my job, and women were not popular back then. I was one of the few that was on the flight line, but I didn't care. I was like in heaven because I was able to do my thing. Nobody really tell me what to do compared to how I lived in a strict, even basic training was a cakewalk for me. The people warned me, said, don't you volunteer for anything. Don't do anything that's going to put you at risk of them humiliating you. And I was like, well, how much worse can it be than the strict household I was born? I volunteered the first night I got there. They said, who here is an artist? And I had given up a 4-year art scholarship because my parents didn't want me to move away. So I raised my hand. I got to do a mural on the squadron's wall with the Pledge of Allegiance and the American flag. And I was like, this is good. This is a cakewalk. This is everything I was the cheerleader and mascot in it. And I loved it. I loved it. But anyway, fast forward. I got hurt in the flight line and I injured my back and I wasn't able to continue. So they didn't want women on the flight line. They wanted me to babysit grown men and women. And I said, no. I didn't come here for inspection. I signed my 4-year contract and I'm supposed to do the job I signed up for. If I can't, and I got a senator involved in it, he got me cross training into something else, aerial photography. Well, he said, you can go back to what you were doing. I said, back on the flight line? He said, no, back to the barracks. I said, no. So they gave me my honorable discharge. But I didn't know I even qualified to be a veteran. I thought you had to be in a war to be a veteran. But it was a very good thing for me to do. And then my parents, I went and ended back up engaged to a guy in the Air Force. We were going to get married, but my parents called me and said, or my mom said, your dad is dying. He's got peritonitis. So I flew home. But meanwhile, my boyfriend knew how my parents treated me. He asked me to choose between the two. I said, you can't do that. And I went home. Dad was hugging a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. He wasn't even in the hospital. And I was like, I've been played all the way around, but I don't care. So I decided to be a workaholic. I had school. I had worked on the flight line in West Palm Beach Airport. I knew all kinds of things to substitute what I was wanting to find. And then my parents moved again. And I was like, oh. And then they said, we're going to North Carolina. I said, I don't want to go where the cows and the farms. No, that's not me. I already got independence and I don't want nothing to do with that. Well, I came with them and I got a job at the bowling alley. That night that I met the guy that I ended up marrying, he said, I'm going to stick around. I was like, who is this guy? And I was already sworn to go into the Peace Corps. I wanted to serve some way, shape, or form the people that that appreciated you doing something for them without you feeling like you had to be a slave to anything. So as long as I had food and shelter, I was going to serve somebody and help them get through whatever they were. So I think I've had that passion all along. I didn't know how much I wanted to do it for real as a job. So I got married to this guy. We met in May, got engaged in August, got married the following February. I didn't know him 11 months, and I was like, this is the one. This is the one. So I couldn't go in the Peace Corps, but I still wanted to do something. We ended up moving very little. With my husband, I only moved twice, but with my parents, 47 times. So it's like I became stable in a situation. We ended up building our dream home. I turned into a carpenter. I worked in a nuclear power plant. I've had all kinds of adventures in all these different activities, but at the same time, I now realize that all these skills were like tools that God was lining out for me to practice and work with and hone my skills to use them now. Now I see the benefit of it all. My parents and I were very distant. We didn't know each other. And honestly, I understand why we drifted apart. But I got another call later on, and my dad was in the hospital. But this time, mom wasn't the one to call me. It was a friend. And I was like, why are you calling me? Who are you? I said, okay, I've had a reconversion in my faith. I was raised Catholic, but I came back to the faith. Why? Because I ended up in a wheelchair. I saw the movie The Passion, and God had miracles beyond my expectation. He got me out of that wheelchair. I'm part bionic because I've had 27 surgeries. I had my knees reconstructed, my ankles, and my back they got a wire fed through there. I have to charge myself like the cell phone, all kinds of stuff. But I also know that I have a sense of humor. And when they told me you have a choice between going in a coma or putting the spine stimulator, and I said, that's not much of a choice. And they said the spine stimulator is very risky. There's a wire going through a vertebral column. You could be paralyzed. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't stand the pain that I'm going through, and I don't want a coma. Let's do it. So they did it. All kinds of psychological tests, everything, because some people don't like all this electronic things going on in there. So I said, okay. So my sense of humor said, okay, Jane Fonda had buns of steel. I'm going to have a bun of titanium. And that's where they implanted. So I always kind of found a way to do it. And the one person that stimulated into me keeping that sense of humor was my husband. He saw me through the worst of times, the best of times, and all the times in between. So I'm grateful to him. He has been the biggest blessing in my life. But whew. Okay, so fast forward some more. I got my book published in December 2022. In January, I received an award for resilience. And halfway through the summer, they said, we've nominated you for an award in Women of Hearts humanitarian award. And I said, whoa, everything was coming back to me. The Peace Corps, all the volunteering, everything. I volunteered for 15 and a half years while I was going back to school. I went back to school somewhere while we were married. I had a bachelor's in science and radiation therapy. And what the beauty of that career was, I learned how to live from people that were dying. Those children would say, I want to remember smiles. I want to remember laughter. And that was impactful to me, that to see that these people were on their dire straits and all they wanted to do was feel a little joy. So I said, I'll do what I can. I made them laugh, and evidently they appreciated me. So anybody that ever appreciated me, it would give me a little more confidence to do it. But it wasn't until I lost 70 pounds and 70 inches during the pandemic that I was just blown away. That I always thought, well, you were cocky enough to go in the Air Force. You did this and you did that, but it was cocky. It was arrogance. Now I was like, wow, I've been blessed with all these opportunities. I saw nothing but disaster, trauma, drama, everything else. I didn't notice all the blessings that were being strewn along the path, and all the angels that represented what I needed to feel, the love, the acceptance that I was not perfect, that I could do things. They would tell me, you could this and you could that. And I would look at them like they were on medication. They were drunk. There's no way that they know my pain and my torture and everything. But this is God opening up your heart and your mind and your soul and saying, look, I'm lining you up. You just haven't paid attention. Why? Because I discovered I had limiting beliefs. I didn't even know those existed. I was like, okay, so that's why I think this, this, and this, but that's not the actuality and reality of things. No, my parents didn't know me. I didn't know them. We were in different cultures. They didn't understand my view of things. I didn't understand theirs. And so it's just everything started like the puzzle pieces of my confusion were coming into play. And I was like, boom, well, this is cool. This is super good to discover. And I won 4 awards for the book. And then I decided, okay, Martie, your native tongue is Spanish. Don't you forget that God gave you 2 tongues. And the reason why I never pursued Spanish, because I learned English before I did Spanish. And I would say something in Venezuela, it was a fruit, but in Colombia, it was a curse word. So I was like, the safest thing for me to do is just speak English. and that was my justification for it. But deep down inside, I said, God's going to ask me. He gave you 2 languages. He's going to ask you, what did you do with all the gifts I gave you? Oh, well, okay, I gotta translate my book into Spanish. I've translated it into Spanish. Thanks be to God. I had the right people to know the language, both languages, and say, okay, this sounds like you in Spanish. I said, okay. So we worked with it together, each chapter, and I'm so grateful for that. And now I've got all kinds of opportunities opening up. They've chosen me to work in an academy. I'm also working with Dr. Alka to do a finishing school to help teach girls resilience. So it's just so many things happening. Oh, another thing, they're considering me for a movie of my life story because it is so impactful, because so many things have happened. And to me, that is like, whoa, I didn't see this coming at all. But thank you, Lord, for letting me discover my passion, my purpose, and my mission to help the world learn resilience so they can overcome adversity, they can surpass, they can survive, and they can see that they have talents, they have treasures, and they are the miracle of life we are. Okay, that's a little bit.
Wow, this is Marty. This is awesome because in your life journey, you have covered. Because I was about to ask your challenges, your inspiration, but you have covered everything, and this is really, really, really fabulous. And I am touched by your one golden line, that adversity which strikes to you, the problems, the challenges, but every problem has a solution. Every problem has a hidden golden opportunity. And that's what has made Marty Smith today a great personality whom I'm interviewing on the platform of KUDOS International Latte Show. So, Marty, without going much deeper and deeper, straight away, I'm gonna ask you about your profession, because I always see you as an international speaker, and also about your great books. So, how people can connect with you and how they can leverage your books, which are just mind blowing.
Well, I've got the 2 solo books. I have 4 pending in the future, and one of them is Creative Chaos Warrior, which is handling all that confusion that gets thrown at us from every which way, including all the limiting beliefs, and overcoming all that to see with clarity what it is that we want out of life, what works for us, what doesn't. So I consult people 15 minutes and see if it's a fit for them to get the coaching, and to teach them the steps, the simple steps, the non-technical steps of what it is that holds us back, that keeps us from progressing, that keeps us from growing, in daring to jump out of that comfort zone, daring to dare to discover who we really are, our essence and our purpose and our passion. So that's a little something I offered. You can find me on my website, martiemsmith.com. You can find me in all the social media. I will give you the links to all of them, but it's just, I'm reaching out to the people that are wanting to commit to taking a look at themselves. Maybe perhaps they think that their life has passed them by. It's never too late. I turned 65 the end of this month. I feel like I'm born again. I don't even relate the age that I've lived. I'm just grateful that I lived all the experiences I have to overcome them and share it with the world, to say, hey, maybe you can maybe you can take a different look at what you've lived. Maybe you can take a different stance on how you feel. Find out, but it takes taking a look at yourself deep inside for sure.
Wow, I can sense, a bundle of positivity which around yourself and ambience, Marty. Let me tell you one thing. You're so positive and such a positivity I can sense, because when you said at the age of 60, you have started something and you feel like, yes, this is my new birth, you have to do this. Generally, people just they think, oh, I can't do this thing. Oh, I can't do, my body is shaking up. I can't do this. I can't do that. But seeing your life journey, your positivity, and you can say your versatility, that makes a person young, youth, or youthful. So great resilience power, and great, I can say, you are inspiring millions to move on in life. And yes, with your double up, triple up energy, that should be so positive that you're inspiring so many people today on the platform of Kiddos Latte Show. By the way, I have not taken a sip of coffee because you have energized me. You have rejuvenated me. So thanks to you for not taking my coffee.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just, and that's it. I think that if we nurture ourselves, we nurture that's what my book is. Resilience nourishes the soul. Why? Because I discovered all that jumping back and bouncing back from adversity showed me that I was nourishing my soul if I took a look at it in a different way. And now I feel very rich. And that I've been rich, money wise rich. I grew up in Venezuela and Colombia that way. But to me, there was this disassociation with money. I wanted to feel rich in my heart. And I had built a wall because of my response with my family. I had built a wall around it. Now I feel like God is just crumbling that wall around my heart, opening it up to the world. And now I'm counting my blessings and I see that there's an overabundance of them. And I can't help but ooze them out of my heart to share with the world, because you cannot keep this to yourself. That would be selfish. That would be arrogant. So I just want to share it. I want to put it in little bottles and give it to the world for free, just so they can see. They can stop and look and say, maybe I haven't looked at it in the right way. Maybe I didn't know how. Maybe I need to go back and take a different aspect and say, okay, yes, you went through hell. Yes, you suffered. Yes, bad things happened, but you're alive today. You're breathing. You can see, you can walk, you can talk. And you start counting all that, all those little things that kept bugging you and telling you you couldn't, they'll keep away from you and you'll start wanting to do and share.
Awesome. This is one. And I would love to state one thing which is just, pounding off from my heart. And I want to say only one thing, seeing your life journey, Marty. People will hate you, shake you, break you, rate you, hate you. People will rate you, shake you, hate you, break you. But ultimately, it's you who make you. Thank you so much for inspiring, Marty. You really, really, really a very strong, motivating, and a very inspiring personality. I
Thank
really adore you, appreciate you.
you. God
And
bless.
moving on to this lovely journey with my lovely guest, Marty Smith, my next question is very, very interesting. And that's not a question, it's your opinion straight from your heart. What do you think about our show, Kiddos International? So, anything you can say about our founder, CEO, Matt Allen, or anything your experience, we would love to hear that.
Well, aside from you being a miracle, I definitely had the privilege of speaking to Matt in depth, and I was blown away that people still exist with the right purpose and passion in this world. He's not materialistic. He wants to change the world, but he wants to change it for the good of all. He wants to make miracles happen. And that's the thing, is miracles happen. They happen all day long, and I didn't even know they happened. And so I was one of those that miracles only happen to special, to special people. Well, guess what? We're all special. We just didn't realize it. So I would definitely give kudos to you for your presentation, for your admiration of people's stories, and just being able to make people realize that we're not all that different. We all have the same wants, needs, and desires to be acknowledged, to be heard, and to express ourselves in this world.
Look, the miracle is here. Founder, kiddos, Matt Allen, welcome. And I give the chance to
Hi,
you to
Matt.
speak. Hi, Matt.
Thanks, Priya. And Marty, we are all miracles, and you obviously are your own unique miracle, and we all are, but we're also miracles together. And the general acceptance of the fact that we come together with an open heart to make change in the world, positive change for everybody, like what you're explaining, and that we take all of our uniqueness and things like you've been talking about today, and some things make big miracles. They stand out, like people being able to get out of wheelchairs and stuff like that, or just the simple things of being able to get up out of bed, which I'm sure you remember our conversation is something that we're sharing in common about being able to get out of bed when it didn't seem possible to just be able to go to the bathroom or go for a shower. And the miracle of the fact that the world is filled with so many unique people, and yet we're all the same people. We're all one. We all have the same needs and desires, and introspectively we look at ourselves and think sometimes we're very unique and very different. And then in other ways we can look at ourselves as a global community of everybody all as one, holding hands together, no matter what color or shape or size those hands are. We just hold those hands together and maybe even go as far as giving each other a hug. Yeah, that's the important thing for me. And I just wanted to say thank you very much, because as much as you chatted to me, I chatted to you and learnt some wonderful things and learnt about the miracle that is you. And obviously, very soon you'll be taking part in our KGC, the KUDOS Global Conference. So I just wanted to mention that briefly to everybody. They can find out information and see my posts. They're particularly relevant to what's going on. Tomorrow I'm on Russ Hedges' show, so I'm hoping some people will watch me there and find out a little bit more about me. But your details are all in the comments about who you are and what you do, and I very strongly suggest to everybody that they connect with you on LinkedIn if they're watching through that platform.
Thank you so much.
It's been a wonderful experience to have you on the show. I'm going to duck out because, like you know, I'm very busy with the KUDOS Global Conference. I'm literally up to my big old ears in it. So,
All right. But
so
thank you for having me, Matt. I appreciate it. And thank you,
oh,
Dr.
it is our pleasure entirely. Thank you.
God bless. Whew.
Well, Marty, that was, and you can say, an explicable and a great journey with you. And before I say bye to my global audience and to you too, I am waiting for your powerful message, which is going to transform our millions of audience and zillions of audience. So, a powerful message from Marty Smith.
Take a look at yourself. Stop comparing yourself to the world. You are unique. You are a miracle. You have talents. You have treasures. You just haven't found them. So never give up on that. Start believing in you, and you will believe in the world. Thank you.
Wow, this is called the powerful message from Marty Smith. And I can take a sip of coffee because she has recharged me, rejuvenated me. And this is called a powerful woman who has traveled, who has done so much for her journey, for her life. And she is there. And we are so honored. And we are so happy to be with you, Marty, and looking forward for more collaborations. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for coming to a show and spending a very beautiful, very nice, great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless everyone. And I hope you pass this on to other people. Even if you think you got it all covered, then or by all means, share it with someone you might think needs help. And that's all I'm asking. God bless.
Awesome. This is incredible. Well, thank you so much, my global audience, for always loving us, inspiring us, cheering us, motivating us. Keep doing that. Until then, stay happy, hale and hearty. Bye bye for now.